Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Holistic Wellness Podcast. I am your host, Maitri Balamurugan. I am the 19-year-old founder and CEO of Evenfall Cosmetics. Evenfall is not just another skincare brand, but is a holistic wellness brand carefully curated to provide you wellness in all the four aspects of your life: your physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Now, please allow me to set the scene for our very special guest today. She is an entrepreneur, a fashion stylist, field researcher, linguist, as well as an artist, and so much more. Please welcome Shristi Sareen. Shristi, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for taking out the time to make this happen.
Hi, it's lovely to be here. I'm so happy. I'm even more happy to see young people such as yourself take up these amazing initiatives. And your approach towards building your brand is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much. That just speaks about how kind you are. Now, I would like to flow into our first question, which is what do you understand by the term holistic wellness?
As you mentioned, holistic wellness is for me the state of being completely satiated in yourself in all the fronts, like be it financial, be it health wise, be it like your confidence, how you feel about yourself, a lot of things. So everything, and this sense of contentment, like that comes within you when you're feeling well about yourself. That sense of contentment is what I would call is wellness for me. This does not mean that you're no longer aspirational or ambitious. It just means that you are so in the present and so happy and so complete spiritually that you're able to accept like all the other parts of your life feel fulfilled like that. So I think that it's a little bit of everything put together, but more or less what I've learned over a period of time is that amongst all of the wellnesses, the key to your eventual growth is your mental stability, your mental health, and your mental well being. Because if you are mentally strong, it's inevitable troubles are going to come your way. But then your strength, your resilience, especially if you're entering entrepreneurship or you're an entrepreneur, you already know the stronger mentally you are, the more resilient you are, and more lean you are, the faster you will grow. So that's how I see wellness, that it's a little bit of everything, but very important to stay very grounded in the mental aspect of it as well.
Wow,
So yeah.
that's a very lovely answer. I'm so glad you highlighted contentment, but also ambition at the same time, and you highlighted a very underrated topic, mental wellness. Thank you for making it clear. Not just for entrepreneurs, for all of us, I feel like a strong mind makes life, which is hard, so much more easier. So thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah.
Now, now, I would want to ask you our second question, which is you wear many hats. You are a fashion stylist, an artist, an entrepreneur, a linguist, as well as a field researcher. So, how do you weave in these diverse roles together in a way that supports your own well being and balance?
So I'll be very honest with you. See, people often talk about work-life balance, and I understand that there are big conferences about it. But at least I have not reached that position where I would say I have achieved the perfect work-life balance. And over the last few years, I've realized that, especially while you're building something completely bootstrapped from scratch, it is a little difficult to have that, work life balance. And also, we need to understand the situations. See, social setups play a lot of roles in how you view the understanding of work life balance. So, when I used to live in Paris, for example, the way I would view work life balance would be completely different from what I view it as when I am here in India, because the resources are different, the way the society is structured is very different. So I feel that it's very difficult to first get to the right definition of what is work life balance, And if somebody says that there is just one definition of it, that is not true. I think at the end of the day, it is a very personal thing. I do understand that for a social context, we need a general definition. But when it comes to de facto execution, it becomes something that is very personal, I feel. Also, it depends on what do you do really. Like, are you in a profession? Are you doing a job? Are you an entrepreneur? What stage entrepreneur are you? Are you like into the first 10 years of your business, or are you just starting off? Where you are located, there are a lot of factors. For me, there is no work life balance, and I'm pretty happy with it. I love working. I was very clear that I work for two things. One is purpose, and the second is love of working. So I don't mind not having that balance. I do, however, prioritize taking care of myself. Um, so I know what I need when, and I just do it. So I think that ways I do fit in the work-life balance in my life somehow, and I always stay at peace with who I am. But I also think that saying that the sociologically approved definition of work life balance works for me, it's wrong, because no, it doesn't work for me. I honestly don't think I also subscribe to it, because it's not very functional in a creative business like what I do. Because to me, like, half of the ideas come when I'm sleeping or meditating. So then I just get up and I start working on it because it's just fresh in my mind at that moment. So it's just really different. Like, I don't want to be stand here and be like that authority figure talking about things that really not happening in my life, right? I can only talk about what I know from experience. I'm not here to like say jargon which is not relatable to people, right? So I can tell you from my point of view that if you're in a creative business, things are a little hectic. How it is. That is the tendency of the business. And with the kind of things I do, I love doing so many things. So that's just who I am as a person. That's not true for everyone. So it's really about, I think, a quest that everyone should go on. And I did this very early on in life, was to write a journal. And this journal, I started it when I was 15, when I first started meditating. So you guys should write. I mean, everybody should write, because what that does is it gives you clarity on what you really want. And once you're very much in alignment with what you want, you would most likely get, you see, what would be things that will work out, what will not work out. So you're not really taken by shock with anything. You accept what's coming your way and you're okay with it. So I think that's the way I look at work life balance. It's a little different. It doesn't come from any books or podcasts or knowledge. It's just what I've learned over a period of time, how it practically works for me and how I think about it. So yeah.
Wow, that was such an insightful answer. Firstly, thank you so much for being open about the fact that work-life balance is not something you subscribe to, because everybody is talking about it, and it's so easy to succumb to that pressure to come on platforms like this and say that, yes, I also believe in work-life balance, but you were so raw and honest about it. And I'm so glad that you also highlighted that there are different, definitions of work-life balance. What might look like work-life balance for you might not look the same for me, because we are all different and we all have such different lives. And also, thank you for mentioning that we need to journal. That definitely gives us a clarity of thought. I have also recently started journaling, and it has brought my thoughts, which were all over the place, into like one middle ground. And now I see that thoughts that seemed to be, different, actually all point to very similar things. It gives you that sense of clarity. So I completely subscribe to that. That journaling does help give you, like a sense of groundedness and clarity. And I also personally, understand that work-life balance is not something that works for, especially people, entrepreneurs like you and me, because work is pretty much our life. We can't. It's very hard to imagine a life outside of your work. It's hard to create an identity for yourself outside of your work. So that's fine. That's just how we are as entrepreneurs. We don't have to have work-life balance. Thank you for addressing that. I'm really glad you made that point. Now, I would want to ask you that art and styling. are forms of creative expression. How do you use creativity as a tool for mindfulness, reflection, or even emotional healing?
Hmm. Okay. So, mm, what is mindfulness? This is a
Mindfulness.
question from me to you. What do you think is mindfulness? What's the definition of it?
Okay, I would say, according to me, maybe being conscious of the actions that you're taking, maybe like you're eating or you're doing something, you're being conscious of it and you're not in another, dimension thinking about something else. Being conscious would be my definition of it. What about you?
So, this whole concept of mindfulness is relatively new.
Okay.
I would, so there is a scripture by the name of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Grab a copy of it and read it. And there is a part where it talks about something known as Vairagya in Sanskrit, and it will translate to dispassion in English. And now that does mean that you are not passionate about something. It's quite the opposite. It is very close to mindfulness. I think, in fact, mindfulness is just an English word, a new age term for it. But it basically means that whatever you do, you are absorbed in it so 100%. You are so immersed in it that what happens before, what happens after ceases to matter. So you can be dispassionate from the outcome of what you are doing in the present moment, only so absorbed, consumed in it that everything ceases to matter. Now, this space, this zone of dispassion could be mindfulness, could be meditation, could be whatever you call. But the ways to achieving that zone are many. Anytime I believe that you do something 100%. So for me, like I first started professionally putting up my artworks when I was 14. So for me, art is very personal, like it's very meditative. Now, whatever I do doesn't make sense to majority of the people, and that's okay. It's something I do for myself, right? And I just put it out there for those who want to enjoy it, right? But it's that feeling of just holding a brush and just, going over that line again and again and again, it's punaha punaha. That means like repetitions of something. And you're so totally involved in it, right? And that is how you become mindful. That is how art and any creative expression is so connected to spirituality, is because to be creative, there's no other way. You cannot be distracted and be creative at the same time. I mean, you could be a distracted person in general, but while you're doing whatever you're doing, you would be completely focused in it. If you're sitting, I don't know if you paint or you draw or whatever, but if you're doing it even as a child, or you just sit down tonight for a minute, shut down everything and just do it, you would yourself feel it. There is no other way. Your brain becomes centered on its own because you have to be present. There is no other way to do. So that's meditation. Not, very big thing. Mindfulness is not a big thing. They're just big terms. At the end of the day, anything in which you're doing something 100% is meditation. My spiritual master says, like, people say that meditation is focus or focus. No, it's nothing. It's just letting go. That's what it is. That's the hardest thing to do, but it is very simple. Just close your eyes and defocus. That is what true meditation is. So it's very easy. So this knowledge has existed for eras, for generations before us. It's not talked about, and it's only talked about when it comes to us from the West and packaged in the little words. But ऐसा नहीं है. There is a lot to explore linguistically in Sanskritam, in Tamil, in Telugu, a lot of ancient languages, a lot of ancient cultures. There's a lot to learn from everyone, I feel. So that's how I connect art, styling, creativity, everything to mindfulness. It is our existence is that. It is nothing but like creativity and beauty, and you know, all of our imperfections are also perfect like that. So it is mindfulness. Your existence is mindfulness. That's why, you know, this is something I tell everyone. We are all enlightened. We are just not all realized. So that's the only difference.
That was such a beautiful and I think a very rare definition of mindfulness. Like you said, we are also used to these well-packed or new words from the West, but they have existed in our ancient scriptures, much before these concepts even became mainstream. I love how you highlighted the words from Patanjali and also the Punaha Punaha. That's something that nobody really connects with mindfulness these days. Everyone's really talking about different definitions of it. But like you said, there is no past, there is no future. You are in the moment completely, so completely absorbed in it. You are not separate from the moment, and that's what makes mindfulness so connected to spirituality as well. And also, you had also mentioned that mindfulness in Patanjali means dispassionate, but that does not mean we are not passionate. We're actually focused on one thing, so passionate and so focused about one thing that everything else ceases to exist. So that's a very, very beautiful and very creative answer, if I may say so. So thank you for that. Now, I want to ask you that entrepreneurship, like we know, is very, very high pressure. So, what are the daily habits, rituals, or even routines that help you stay centered and help you in your holistic wellness?
Hmm. So I would say that there were phases in my life where I could not really get into as much physical exercise as I like. There is one thing that I do always keep stable, that there has to be 15 minutes of at least some physical activity. So I usually go by doing some stretches. There are techniques of Sukshma Vyayam, which are basically your facial exercises. Those I integrate in my skincare routine. So instead of integrating them as yoga asanas, I've integrated them as lymphatic drainage combined with facial yoga in my skincare routine, because otherwise it's very difficult to make time. So I creatively have found out ways of making time for myself. So then I do these at least 15 minutes, some stretching. My ideal will be that this is for hectic days, because, you know, in the initial days, it's really crazy. But like when I do have time, I would ideally do at least 5 rounds of Surya Namaskar, some stretches, some jumps, then three forms of exercises. So like sit ups, exercises that are done while sitting up, exercises that are done while lying down, and exercises that are done while standing. So a little bit of everything. So depending on how much time I have, I split it to 5, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, like that, based on whatever time I have. So that is the thing that I do. So this is the physical part. Spiritually, I keep alternating between either I would meditate, or I would listen to some chants, or I will do both, dependent on how much time I have. But I do try and stick to one spiritual practice at least for the day. um and I have been doing at least like a little bit of something. I've been very blessed that I learned really early in my life when I was 15. Now I'm almost 31 now, so I've always been doing a little bit of something. So that's the thing that I never miss. Something has to be there which resonates with me. And then, yeah, I mean, of course, taking care of, I like to pamper myself a little. So, skincare for me is like my own space. I would do a nice facial massage and all of that. So, that much time I give to myself, because I strongly feel that if you look good, you feel good. And it really like it really affects me, at least personally, and I think many people who have spoken to it does affect you. And also, like, it helps relieve out a lot of stress. Massaging in lymphatic drainage helps a lot of release a lot of stress the muscle memory has and everything. So yeah, all of that. And those things I make sure I always do, and other things, well, they keep on changing, like I said. But if as long as I have the basics in place, it's all cool.
Wow, I love how you highlighted a lot of skincare there and how you reframed skincare as self-care, because I feel like with our social media right now, people look to skincare as something they have to do. It's like a huge routine that they are dreading at the end of the day. But instead, if you reframe it as an act of caring for yourself, as your own safe space where you just let go and do something to honestly feel good, because like I said, when we look good, at least according to ourselves, when we look good, we definitely feel good. It does play out. The way we perceive how we look definitely plays out in how we show up. So I'm so glad that you reframed skincare as self-care. That's not really talked about. And I also love how you mentioned stretches as well. I think that's a very, beautiful routine to be able to incorporate even on busy days. And yeah, that's a very nice routine you have, I must say. So I want to ask you, your field research and linguistic work expose you to a lot of different cultures, I assume. So how has this shaped your understanding, especially you've lived in Paris as well. So how does this shape your understanding of human behavior, connection, and overall well-being?
Hmm. Look, see, very honestly, my reason of studying linguistics has something to do with my personal life. I went through a phase with my health where I felt that learning linguistics would help me feel better. And that was the reason why I had picked it up as a subject. I my bachelor's was in economics, political science, and sociology. So I had previously studied a little bit of sociolinguistics, and I knew what I was getting into to some degree, and that is why I took it up. And I think that I thoroughly enjoyed it and I loved it. And to me, more than connecting up with other cultures, this was a little bit of a going back to your roots situation, because my thesis was about Punjabi, which is my native language. But see, you need to understand that you guys live down south, right? But for us in the north, our culture is sort of like a little, it has a break. So my roots, my native roots are not from India. I am from Pakistan. Like my ancestry from both sides of my parents is from Pakistan. So our Punjabi language, our dialect, the way we speak it, what was our culture like back there? Those were the questions while I was studying language. Um, that was what was intriguing me. I generally find languages very interesting, but that was what was intriguing me. And it was a little bit of a journey back in time to talk to people from different generations about languages, right? About Punjabi as a language and how it has evolved in this city in particular. Because Punjabi, what you hear in Delhi and what you hear in the villages is very different. In Punjabi, like when you travel to Punjab, I travel to Punjab to work with my crafts people there. So there, it's like you have pinds, and every pind will have its own dialect. The words will be slightly different. The way they say it will be slightly different. Also, their mannerisms. So the tonality, the pitch, everything changes, right? And so imagine if an alien were to come, he would think that what they're saying is so rude, but they would actually be saying something very sweet. It's just the tone of saying it is not very sweet. So it seems like that, right? But so there's so much difference, there's so much richness. That was the reason why I took linguistics, and this was the journey that it went down. But in the process, I did learn to really understand more than cultures about the science of language, how important it is what we speak, not for others, but for ourselves. So everything that you say to someone else has more impact on you than it does on the other person. So there are neural mirrors, there is, networking in like how you talk. There is this thing also, when they say don't abuse, in many religions around the world, they say don't abuse. Why do they say don't abuse? It's not that it's going to make that much of a difference to God if you're abusing. Like, God is not sitting there cutting out fines for every abuser saying. No, but it's just the more dignified you are in how you communicate, the more you come off with your physical presence also. And people also respond, right? The sweeter your language is, the general response of the other person is also that much sweeter. There are studies about this also. There are studies about languages that have abuse as a way of connection, and that's good too because Punjabi uses a lot of abuse too. So it's a very interesting thing. You've asked me a question which is very wide now, and I'll end up going to too many cultures because I keep traveling for so much work. You have to really pitch very. You have to ask me one question, and then I will answer that. But like if you'll ask me about cultures, I think that in the end there was only one thing that I see, that humanity is beyond language. Language is important, but it's the crux of humanity, the kindness and love is beyond language. So it doesn't matter where you are, if your actions can reflect genuine care and kindness, people will always respond to you. They would always be there for you. So I think I studied linguistics and realized that language is not the most important thing for human survival. It's important, but not the most important.
Wow, that was such a beautiful answer, I must say. I'm in awe listening to how you described in with so much passion about how there are so many different dialects of Punjabi and how you looked to linguistics for you to go back to your roots and try to learn more about your language and how you were genuinely intrigued by it. I can tell with the passion that you described that you're really passionate about it. And it was also very interesting how you brought up that some languages can see abuse as like a way of connecting with people. But for others, I think, especially in the Western cultures, this might be like a completely alien concept because they are used to being more sweeter and they see being sweeter as like a form of, connection. So that was a very interesting answer, I must say. Thank you for that. Now I want to ask you, how do you incorporate conscious living or sustainability in your work, whether it is in fashion, art, or even your personal lifestyle that can help support your own and your, career's long-term wellness?
Hmm. Look, see, when it came to my work, I was very clear that when it comes to sustainability, I understand that nothing can ever be truly 100% sustainable. Um, because if you are to be truly, absolutely sustainable, that would mean that, you basically create only when there is somebody knocking at your doorstep. And that doesn't happen. Like we don't live in those small communal societies anymore where those kind of structures are possible. So I just wanted to make sure that whatever I do it to the best amount of sustainable practices that I can do are initiated. So while establishing my brand, I established three pillars that mattered to me and my brand. The first one was, of course, the environmental aspect of sustainability. The second one was the cultural aspect of sustainability. The human aspect was the third thing that I was looking at. And finally, I was also looking at styling sustainability. Now, I don't even know if this term exists, but I wanted to make sure that whenever I design outfits, they should be versatile. I don't want my clothes, even the prints that I make, they should not be stuck in somebody's cupboard because they don't know how to wear it. So the clothes are like such that all the dresses can be worn as kurtas, all the quad sets can be worn individually. That was the one thing that I was very clear about, that I don't want people to buy stuff that they're not going to wear. So everything has to be styled in multiple ways. The second thing that I wanted to be sure about was like environmentally, you after a point of time, de facto, while building a brand, there are restrictions. So as much as I could do environmentally, I would do. So we focused on natural dyes, we focused on natural textiles, we avoid polyester, wherever we could reduce carbon footprint, even with natural dyeing, in terms of water utilization, reusing water. We told our artisans to do all of that as well. So wherever we could save whatever, we were doing that. Even with fabric waste, we've tried to take the fabric waste and made pouches out of it, or made bags out of it, accessories out of it. So utilizing every little bits and pieces of fabric that we can, not to make sure that nothing goes to waste. That was like something that we were very sure about since the very beginning. We've been doing it. So that is how we were focused on environmental sustainability. When it comes to cultural sustainability, we have done a collection on Chettinad silk, for example. Now, there, although we usually work on natural dyes, we tried very hard to find natural dyes there, but we could not. So then we were like, we cannot let this culture textile die out, right? Because there are very few people left who do it anyways. So just to support artisans who needed our help, we bought off that fabric from them, and then we gave a lining of unbleached, chemical-free cotton to basically protect the skin from synthetic dyes and stay true to our principle, but at the same time make sure that in the routes where employment is needed and where resources are scarce, people are actually getting the opportunities that they deserve for their craft. So that was a cultural part of it. And finally, coming to the human factor, I feel that for centuries now, design is so connected from the spirit, from who we are. So our clothes don't, they yes, majority of the times do reflect coolness and street style and everything. Yeah, that's great. But they don't bring calm to your body and your skin. They don't heal you. They don't make you feel at peace, right? And that also, when people walk, the way they walk, how they carry themselves is very obvious in all of that. There's so few brands who would genuinely care. Like, we learned to care so much that we've even done a 80% in-house designing of the textile as well at Dory Story. So 80% of the textile I design myself, or we design it with artist collaborations and everything in place. So we put a lot of systems and processes to be not just another sustainable brand, but to be the sustainable brand, right? Because it's very easy to make a statement that we are 100% sustainable, but you cannot be. But can you try and be 100%? Yes. So we're trying to cover as many bases in as many ways as we can with the brand. In my personal life, honestly, I am crazy about sustainability, and it comes from my whole family. We don't throw out things till there are holes in it, which cannot be ruffled or replaced. So, I don't know if you know what rafu is. Rafu is basically, if you have old holes, there are techniques to patch it up. So we do those kind of things. I still do it. I have clothes that are torn. We repair it, and we keep on repairing it till it's torn beyond the point of repair. I, in fact, encourage people that our clothes are naturally dyed, they will bleed color. After they bleed color, we encourage them to wear it at home and not to throw it away. Even we tell them that our clothes, we have experimented them that they easily last 3 years. The only thing that happens is that they might fade in color 3 to 4 years. They would more than easily last. So we're like, please donate the clothes. Don't let anything get to the landfills. Although we do ensure that our clothes are all biodegradable, but still don't let it get there till it absolutely has to. So all of this is something that we're looking at. Obviously, there's a lot more to do in general, but we're trying to do as much as we can as a brand. So yeah.
Wow, that was such a beautiful answer. I like how you said that no brand can really be 100% sustainable, but we can definitely, consciously strive to be. And I loved how you mentioned so many different areas where you are trying your best, your level best to be sustainable. So that was a very beautiful answer. Now I'm afraid we are at the end of the call because Zoom doesn't allow more than 40 minutes, but I would like to thank you for truly taking out the time to be here, be present, and share your valuable insights, especially as someone who has gone through life and done so much, so many different industries. So I'm really sure that your insights can be of a lot of help to so many women listening to this podcast, even men, anybody listening to this podcast. Thank you. I'm so humbled and grateful that you took out the time to make this happen. Thank you so much.
It was lovely hearing from you over Instagram, and your brand is beautiful. I hope that it grows by leaps and bounds.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that's a wrap, guys. I and Shristi, we will see you in the next episode with a new guest. And until then, bye bye.